Welcome to another exciting episode, of course by Marvelous Videos. I'm your host Gemma, and today I'll be taking you through Saber Rider and the Star Sheriff's 1987 cartoon explored. Say Jussi Bismarck, also known by the name Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs, was the earliest not so just for kids series to air on television outside of Japan. It was the first Mecha series to feature true character interaction. The heroes did not waste the whole episode waiting for another onslaught inside their base. They enjoyed going on vacations, talking about their futures, and liking and loathing others. Yes, previous shows such as Battleship Yamato and the first Gundam series accomplished the same thing, but they were only available on VHS. Bismarck also was the first series to use story twists. This was the very first time we saw traitors from the good side who weren't motivated by materialism, but rather by jealousy. It was the very first time we saw the protagonists lose due to their internal politics. The mood altered dramatically in the later part of the show, resulting in the first significant scenario change we'd ever seen. And it's much more fantastic because of it. Bismarck's strong points are common in today's Mecha and action series, but that doesn't alter the fact that it was the very first on television to present those standard features and prepare us for what was to come in the series after it. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Game's over.
What the cartoon television series is all about. Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs is an animated space western created in 1987 with a similar concept to Brave Star, Galaxy Rangers, and Adult Swim's own Trigun. Star Musketeer Bismarck, a 1984 anime series made by Studio Pierrot, had modest success in Japan. World Events Productions, or WEP, acquired the English translation rights of the show in 1986. WEP restructured and redid the series, integrating both the existing episodes and creating 6 new ones before releasing it as Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs.
Oh, right.
The visuals are typical and similar to most 1980s programs. A special mention should be made of the stories based on true history setting, which is quite reminiscent of a high-tech Wild West. The extraterrestrial evil guy's costume had a sense of 19th century English and Spanish military style, and the nice guys a hint of ranchers and the American infantry, making the whole war an allusion to the American Revolution. Until this series, all setups were either always Japan or some fictitious country. The song "Do You Feel the Thunder Inside" would become a popular ringtone on cell phones throughout the world. In the program, mankind has extended beyond Earth and inhabited planets throughout the cosmos, forming a new frontier of man. The Earth's Cavalry Command was established to guard these new inhabitants and uphold regulations and rules in the new frontier. Cavalry Command is essentially a military organization with an army and a fleet of ships to defend the new frontier. A force of elite operatives called Star Sheriffs worked as field agents with Cavalry Command, investigating crimes and schemes against the safety of the new frontier. The Star Sheriffs and the Cavalry Command's main adversary is a species of non-human aliens known as vapor beings, or the Outriders, that leaped into their realm to conquer it. They assault inhabitants, ruin communities, and abduct people in order to extract various metals and crystals from the land. Outriders are better than humans in battle prowess, boasting a legion of massive robots with incredible firepower, and against which Cavalry Command's space-going ships are no match. Cavalry Command creates a prototype spacecraft dubbed as the Ramrod Equalizer Unit, or simply Ramrod, which has the capacity to transform from a spaceship into a strong robot capable of fighting the Outriders on equal terms. The second installment of the program is fairly brief, and it was created just for the American edition of the show. However, it is the magical touch that transformed the narrative. A low-ranking Earth soldier fell madly in love with the story's main character, but because he was a novice before the Star Sheriffs, he was often ridiculed. Even the lady made fun of him while clinging to the embraces of the major male characters in the narrative. He betrays mankind and joins the invaders as a mole and elite fighter, intent on getting vengeance and acquiring the lady for himself. In addition, the aliens urge a truce and the destruction of the lead Meechar and its production line as a gesture of goodwill. The human leaders agree, and the Meechar is demolished by the traitor in front of the heroes' eyes with the permission of their own lawmakers. Of course, the extraterrestrials lied, and the ceasefire was soon broken. And, surprise, the good folks did as well. In case things went wrong, another Meechar was developed in secret. As a result, the tale continues in a different environment. The environment is no longer earthbound, but rather the unending emptiness of the universe and unfamiliar planets and outposts.
Just got into some trouble.
Main characters of the cartoon series: Star Sheriffs. Saber Rider. Saber Rider is the commander of the Ramrod Equalizer unit in the American edition of the series. He is a young fellow, yet his talents and marksmanship are characterized as legendary. Saber Rider is a Scottish Highlander who is skilled with both horses and swords. He is often seen as a charming man with a cool mind when it comes to tactics and judgments. Saber, also known as the Top Sword in the US version, frequently rides Steed, a robotic horse with extremely powerful thrusters and the capacity to fly, race, and function in space. However, because it is unable to do any long distance space travel, Steed is kept in Ramrod's cargo hold and is mostly used to fly down to various planets from orbit or to use on the surface of the planet. Steed is virtually sentient in nature, and Saber once joked about giving him a sugar cube. He recognizes his master's words and can function autonomously whenever Saber is in peril. Fireball. Fireball used to be a race car driver, and he was the youngest champion in the history of the competition. Fireball pilots the Ramrod unit and is in charge of the chest cannon and heavy weapons housed in Ramrod's chest section. He rides a race car known as the Red Fury Racer, or Turbo, which is loaded with an armory of weapons. He has a fast temper and once boasted about his immaculate memory. Throughout the story, he learns that his father was actually a fighter pilot who fought aside King Jarrah, who was from the legendary kingdom of Jar, against the Outriders 15 years ago. Sacrificing everything, his father sent his spacecraft into Nemesis' command ship, stripping Nemesis of his form and sending them both to the Outrider dimension, where he remains missing to this day. In the original Seiyushi Bismarck, Fireball is known as Shinji Hikari, the crew's Japanese commander. The flag of Japan is emblazoned on his sleeve and helmet. Colt. Colt first appears in the show as a contract hunter on the search for Vanquo, who is an Outrider spy. He has near perfect accuracy with weaponry and is the gunner on Ramrod, handling the 6 iron as Fireball handles the chest cannons. His character is portrayed as a bit of a recluse, but also as an incredible flirt, making advances at practically every woman he encounters. Right after Colt went to join a touring rodeo, his parents were ambushed and likely slain by assaulting Outriders. This incident inspired him to turn into a bounty hunter. For personal travel and solitary combat, he relies on Bronco Buster, a white and blue one-man spaceship. In the Japanese edition, the character is known as Bill Wilcox and is from the US. Hence, a US flag appears as a patch on his outfit. April Eagle. April Eagle is Commander Eagle's daughter and the sole engineer who devised and oversaw Project Ramrod. General Whitehawk trained her at Cavalry Command. She was a pro tennis player before choosing to join the Star Sheriffs. April seemed to have an unrequited affection for Saber Rider in early segments of the series, which may indicate why in WEP created episodes, April gets a robotic horse dubbed Nova with Saber's Steed's skills. Throughout the show, April's 3 romantic involvements were Saber Rider, which was one-sided on her part, Jessie Blue, which was one-sided on his part, and Fireball, which was finally reciprocated and led to a happy relationship. The fact that the girl does not wind up with the main protagonist, Saber Rider, is an interesting oddity of the American edition of the program. Commander Eagle. Commander Eagle, April's father, is the chief of Cavalry Command, which oversees all of the warships and armies that guard the United Star Systems, including the Star Sheriff's Special Forces organization. Eagle takes his tasks seriously and yet has a kind heart and a compassionate disposition underneath. Commander Eagle adores his daughter and is a staunch supporter of Project Ramrod. The character's name in the Japanese edition is Charles Louvre. Outriders. Outriders are humanoids from another realm known as the Vapor Zone. They do not require oxygen, but they do require a lot of water. They've also acquired the capacity to pass themselves off as humans, to the point that even a medical checkup won't disclose their actual identity. Their personal lives, like their home dimension, are dreary, and they have depleted all of the resources of their homeworld, forcing them to relocate to a synthetic planet. Nemesis. Nemesis, a massive, darkly dressed and masked figure, is the wicked mastermind in command of the rogue Outriders. He built the Vapor Trail, which enables the Outriders to travel from their realm into the human dimension, and he is the genius behind their nefarious plots. Nemesis is revealed to be a cyborg in the series' final episodes, and his mind also functioned as a device named the Ninth Degree, which was a strong computer that is on the Outriders' synthetic homeworld. Saber Rider is reportedly the only one of the Star Sheriffs who has met Nemesis face to face. After Saber travelled inside the Vapor Zone in the aftermath of an Outrider ship travelling down the Vapor Trail in the segment named Stampede, the pair engage in a laser sword combat. When Saber Rider was about to win the combat, Nemesis rescued himself by draining the oxygen from inside the room where they were battling, as Outriders do not require oxygen, knocking Saber Rider out. Jessie Blue. Jessie Blue was a talented cadet at Cavalry Command till he fell in head over heels for April Eagle during one of his training exercises. He was a fairly unique looking figure with greenish blue hair and a sarcastic streak. When April turned down his overtures and accidentally humiliated him in front of other cadets, he went against all of the Star Sheriffs and developed a personal hatred towards Saber Rider, believing that it was April's love for Saber that caused her to reject his love. Gatler. Gatler, also known as Gatler the Rattler, wears a scary fanged space mask that, when removed, shows his true appearance as a glowering, sinister monster. Gatler, who is heavy-handed and has a stone heart, responds only to Nemesis. Vanquo. Vanquo is a spectral outrider with blank eyes paired with a long, pale face. He is a terrifying figure with a haunting chuckle. He is an extraordinary fast drawer while dressed in some kind of serape and hat. Vanquo eventually had an unusual ending for an outrider. He actually turned human. Saber Rider faced him in the Vapor Zone soon after Saber's combat with Nemesis in Stampede. Vanquo cut a pitiful figure, deserted by Nemesis and realizing he was defeated and was at Saber's mercy. Vanquo was reportedly last seen doing what he appeared to be dressed for, becoming a cowboy. Vanquo dies in the first episode of the Japanese version. Cartoon casts. Rob Paulsen as Saber Rider. Rob Paulsen, born on 11th of March 1956, is a voice actor from the United States. He is well recognised for his appearances in the animated series Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as Raphael in 1987 and Donatello in 2012. Paulsen has provided the voice for over 250 distinct cartoon characters and over 1,000 commercials. He won a Daytime Emmy Award for being an outstanding animated program performer and 3 Annie Awards for his work as Pinky in Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. Pat Fraley as Fireball. Patrick Fraley, born on 18th of February 1949, is an American voice-over teacher and voice actor, best known for his roles as Krang, Baxter Stockman, Casey Jones, and a variety of other personalities in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated TV show in 1987, as well as Falcon in the Stuart Little animated TV show in 2008. Fraley also belongs to the Voice and Speech Trainers of America. Townsend Coleman as Colt. Townsend Coleman is a voice actor from the United States who has been in several animated shows and television advertisements since the early 1980s. Wayne Grzycki from Pro Stars, Michelangelo in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the lead protagonist in Where's Wally, and also The Tick are among his most prominent roles. In the late 1970s, Coleman worked as a radio jockey for WGCL in the city of Cleveland in Ohio. Pat Music as April Eagle. Patricia Ann Music, born on 26th of January in 1956, is a voice actor from the United States who has appeared in several television series, films, and video games. She and her husband, set construction coordinator and personal manager Jeff Whitman, are the mom and dad of singer and actress Mae Whitman. Music's first film appearance was in the Loch Ness Horror in 1981. She was known for her roles as Harold Frumpkin in Rugrats and Snappy Smurf in The Smurfs. Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. The first episode of the show starts with the narrator talking about a freedom fighting unit named Ramrod. He claims that it is a peacekeeping vehicle that is shaped like a cowboy. This was used to help protect the people of the new frontier and keep them safe from attacks of the wicked Outriders. The Outriders were evil and had crossed into their dimension and wreaked havoc for the people who lived there and used special battalions to move easily from their world to other worlds, and Ramrod was possibly the only way to stop them. But it is not Ramrod who defeats them. Instead, it is the leader of the Star Sheriffs, Saber Rider. After narrating this, the leader Saber Rod alerts the head of operations, Ramrod, a woman named April. April believes that the Outriders found out about Ramrod because of a spy named Vanquo, and she would have to go to another planet because of this. Saber Rider and April arrive on the planet together just in time for the planet's Grand Prix, where a young man named Fireball was leading the way in the race. He is suddenly almost attacked by an airborne vehicle, which causes him to lose his lead, but yet he manages to win.
Hey, Fireball, can I get your picture?
He's giving away his wreath.
Meanwhile, Saber Rider saves the day by rescuing a woman from a couple of bandits. He and Fireball get into a scuffle over a hotel room when they are interrupted by a cowboy who claims he's looking for an outrider with a long, pale face and ghostly eyes. Suddenly, a woman comes running and tells the cowboy, who is presumably named Colt, that her father knows about the square dance as her father comes running behind her and shoots at Colt. Meanwhile, Saber Rider and Fireball unwillingly come to a truce and decide to share a room, and Saber Rider tells Fireball to inform him if he sees the Outrider that Colt mentioned, as the planet is in grave danger. Colt finds the Outrider and decides to take him on his own and turns him into vapor, much to Saber Rider's dismay, as now he cannot get the information he needs. Saber Rider and Fireball both lie to each other and decide to go to the frontier base, not knowing that they're both heading that way. Saber Rider reaches the outpost just in time as it is being attacked. Colt and Fireball have already arrived, and the three of them save the day. April asks Fireball to help her with the ramrod and asks all three men to work together. Fireball takes the lead to drive the ramrod as he is an experienced driver. Suddenly, they are attacked by a renegade desperado unit, but the four of them work together and manage to destroy it. April invites Colt and Fireball to join the Star Sheriffs, and that marks the beginning of the show's plotline. In the second episode of the show, Colt comes back after finding a pet iguana for himself, when suddenly April comes to the three men and she bears bad news. The three of them leave in the ramrod after April tells them New Dallas is in danger, ready to save the world yet again. The group reaches New Dallas only to find out that they're too late. and the outpost is in ruins. Colt says that the Outriders know they're there when the team is suddenly attacked. All of them fight back, but they're greatly outnumbered. Even so, they bravely battle the army using their swords and teamwork. They blast off in the Ramrod once again to look for the base of operations. Colt and Saber Rider flip a coin to go out and look for the Outriders, with Colt eventually winning, much to Saber Rider's dismay. Colt actually cheats to win, but nevertheless goes out in search of the headquarters. Once he finds them, he decides to return back when he is suddenly attacked by the Outriders and a renegade unit. Colt's pet iguana helps him escape, and he contacts Fireball and Saber Rider before deciding to go after the Outriders by himself. Just as Colt is about to get annihilated, the Ramrod destroys the renegade unit. Colt decides to let his pet go back to its original home, as he is grateful to it for saving his life. The episode ends on a happy note, as all of our heroes are safe and successful once again.
Go on, amigo.
Interesting facts about the cartoon. In 2016, on 20th of January, Lineforge Comics announced that a new graphic book miniseries inspired by the show would be released on March 16th, 2016. The 4-issue miniseries will revamp the show's idea to appeal to a new audience. Margaret Scott wrote the series and Sendel Arts drew it. In one episode of the German dub version of the series, Colt pursues some young ladies to flirt with them. He can never keep away from attractive women. Well, that's the Tramitz syndrome, said the other Star Sheriffs, amused. Colt's German voice actor is Christian Tramitz. Colt's real name is Bill Wilcox, while April Eagle's real name is Maureen Louvre. In the English adaptation, Peter Cullen does a John Wayne impression. Saber Rider is the captain of the team and commander of the Ramrod Equalizer unit in the American adaptation of the series. The moniker Top Sword is given to him on occasion. Actually, his given full name is Richard Lancelot. The Vapor Zone, in which vanquished Outriders vanish, was created particularly for the American edition. When they were shot in the initial Japanese version, they just died. This version, on the other hand, demonstrates that they are simply transferred to another realm from which they will eventually return as humans. In the Japanese version, Fireball led the group instead of Saber Rider. While a lot of us were youngsters, Saber Rider was indeed an incredible, if obscure, television animation show. It was not like any other adventure cartoon program of the time, and they even managed to sneak in real action via a plot twist and took off with that as well. Yes, there were a few significant changes made during the English version of this brief anime series, but none of that detracted from the fight sequences of the good versus evil struggle. The plot itself got increasingly compelling as the series continued, and the action scenes became more diverse and expensive as the budget expanded following the first season in Japan in 1984. Fry's Home Video only issued 3 video cassettes to the market, each containing 2 episodes from the first season. Unfortunately, if you didn't get into it during its late 1980s syndication, you may not ever know about the true exploits that took place somewhere in the new frontier. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.
Right.